Merry Christmas and welcome back to Turner Classic Movies. I'm Dave Karger. Thanks for spending your Christmas afternoon with me here on TCM. Up next is a movie that might not sound like a Christmas film, but rest assured it is. It's the 1949 MGM musical In the Good Old Summertime. Despite the title, much of the movie actually takes place in the wintertime, and it's a remake of another Christmas classic, Ernst Lubitsch's 1940 romantic comedy The Shop Around the Corner, which starred Jimmy Stewart and Margaret Sullivan. In this musical version, produced in 1949, the stars are Judy Garland and Van Johnson, and the film follows the same basic premise. Garland and Johnson are two salespeople who work together in a shop and bicker constantly. Little do they know they are secretly romantic pen pals who have been falling for each other without knowing the real identity of their correspondence. The story was also later adapted as the Broadway musical She Loves Me and the 1998 romantic comedy You've Got Mail, starring Tom Hanks and Meg Ryan. This 1949 MGM musical version went through several casting changes before Judy Garland and Van Johnson were brought on board. At one point, it was slated to star Frank Sinatra and Gloria DeHaven, then Judy Garland and Gene Kelly, and finally Van Johnson and June Allison. But Allison became pregnant and had to bow out, so the part went back to Judy Garland. Since the role was developed with June Allison in mind, there aren't as many musical numbers as you would expect from a Judy Garland movie, but she does have a few, including the song Merry Christmas, which has since been covered by other artists, including Johnny Mathis and Bette Midler. From 1949, directed by Robert Z. Leonard, also with Buster Keaton, Spring Byington, S.Z. Cuddles Sakal, and a 2.5-year-old Liza Minnelli making her film debut at the very end, In the Good Old Summertime. As I teased before the movie, that little girl who appeared in the final scene was Liza Minnelli, who was just 2.5 years old when she made her debut in this film. Liza was born in 1946, the year after Judy Garland married her second husband, Vincent Minnelli. Minnelli directed Garland in some of the films she made at MGM in the mid-1940s, including Meet Me in St. Louis and The Clock. But by the end of the decade, their marriage was on the rocks. Garland struggled with mental and physical health problems, while Minnelli, who was unable to figure out what to do to help her, focused his attention on his work at MGM. A year after Garland finished In the Good Old Summertime, she and Minnelli announced to the press that they had separated. As for young Liza, it would be almost 20 years until she showed up on the big screen again when she co-starred with Albert Finney in the 1968 film Charlie Bubbles. Up next, I'm turning it over to Ben Mankiewicz for more of our month-long spotlight on movies about divine intervention, beginning with a classic British fantasy from 1946 starring David Niven.
Next on TCM, a matter of life and death, then angels in the outfield, and later, a guy named Joe. Be an angel and stay tuned to TCM.